Super. So welcome everyone to our second call or third call now for our second call for our future leaders today. So we're discussing all things blockchain and crypto and geopolitical affairs around the world and the direction in which finance is heading. So this is an impromptu call because we normally do them on a Thursday, but I'm trying to just move as people just kind of need it and pulling stuff together. What spurred this call on today more than other calls was just kind of getting up to speed on wallets and understanding a little bit more about coins. If anyone's not seen the video from the last call, which I posted in the group, that one really is around kind of like, what is blockchain? Because cryptocurrency is one aspect of it. And the easiest way I can explain it is saying that, well, a really easy way of saying it is like wine is alcohol, but so is cider and something else. So blockchain is the equivalent to the alcohol, and crypto is an application of blockchain. Just like you have the internet, and on top of the internet sit things like social media. Without the internet, you wouldn't have social media. But without the internet, you wouldn't have Amazon. And without the internet, you wouldn't have, I don't know, holiday sites or photo places to put your photos. All of these things require the internet. Cryptocurrency requires blockchain. It's a piece of technology. So the prior video that we did the Thursday last week kind of covers different analogies of that and just linking it all up. So this one I want to try and keep around wallets, coins, transfers, exchanges, things like that. So without further ado, I'm going to open it up. If there is, I always like to begin with, especially if there's not many of us, just really quickly, just running through like a minute each. That means you're all going to speak for about a minute if you wish. So just let us know your name and how much, if any, experience you have in this sphere. And if you know what question you'd love to ask, now would be a good time to share it so I can just kind of get an idea of what people want to discuss. So Richard, I'm going to pick on yourself first. Give the others a little bit of time, if that's okay.
Okay, so I mean, we've been involved in the same circles for a while. So I got introduced to blockchain. I don't know if the same sort of time as you or not, but probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Looked into it. Obviously, super exciting. So many different uses for it, and you can see the sort of how the world can change with it. About a year ago, I was sort of really looking in ways that I could use it for my industry, but I got derailed with that basically for different reasons.
Yeah.
Bought Bitcoin, a couple of years ago, and then sold most of it off when it sort of started tanking, basically. So I was in the sort of trade space with it, just trying to make some money in it. But since then, I've not really massively been involved, and I can see that loads of coins have come out of the woodwork, and really interested in what you'd said, and sort of dug into some of the videos that you'd shared and done my own bit of research as well. So, can see that Ripple has got the best use case out there as far as it seems at the moment. And XRP sits on top of that. So really interested in that. So I've spent the last couple of days just basically doing my research and as best as I can.
Yeah.
Downloaded Binance, but I really struggled with it, to be honest, because it seems I'm not a super technical person. So it seems, Coinbase is so easy. I've got some on Coinbase, I've got some on Revolut. Tried to use Binance, but got kind of blocked by it somehow. But I think it turned out to be that my card company suddenly thought someone had hacked my card or something. So they just put a block on it, but I couldn't figure out how to get it. So I suppose some of my questions, if that's what you're going to get onto, is around what's the difference between a wallet and an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just the security around it, because I'm not the best at security or sort of the details, say like hardware and paper. I think you mentioned that on the last call. So I looked at sort of hardware wallets, and it's just basically a dongle that you need to keep secure. I wouldn't know how to use it if I got one, but also paper wallets, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's it really. Just trying to understand that. And Binance, I think it'd be really useful, or from my perspective and a few other people looking at the chat, is to sort of think, we really sort of have a walk through finance at some point, I think, just to sort of see how it kind of works and understand it, because there's loads of words now that I don't understand, like, difference between margins and all those different things. I guess that's if you're trading on a more I don't think I'll be going to sit on a trade on this. It'll be more like
buy and hold.
Hold, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm cool with that. Okay, tons of questions there that are all useful. And the thing is, every question, even if it sounds really complex, really helps whoever's listening to just everything Richard's just said there. Actually, in a way, is really simple stuff that we should understand and we need to understand, because in the same way that financial literacy is a key marker in how you manage your finances, and this is to everybody, it's exactly the same for blockchain and for all this technology and crypto. We're not taught financial literacy at school, which is why so many people, 73% of all people that come into winning the lottery have nothing within 3 years, because we've just got no comprehension of managing money. And it's the same with managing all this crypto. I've been umming and ahhing about doing something for helping people from the baby boom generation, from early millennials, just understanding tech, because we grew up climbing trees and everyone's still using standard passwords, and just understanding how to cleanse our digital lives is a massive thing right now. So tons of stuff brilliant from there, Richard. Thank you very much. Who came on after? Let's start with Deborah. Unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, good. Okay, so let us know what's your experience and what's your questions?
Well, I certainly won't be able to speak for a minute because I've absolutely no idea about it whatsoever. But it's just something. I mean, I've had a look this morning on Bitcoins for Dummies, and that was quite clearly explained. But obviously, I only touched on it. But for me and my learning style, I think by speaking to people like yourselves and people in the group, you obviously learn a lot more.
Yeah.
Rather than just reading words, from sources. So I would certainly look at want to learn a little bit more about it, exactly what it is, and whether it's something that I could maybe invest in. Or so I mean, today I learned that you can either put your money in and leave it there, or you can trade. So it's all that kind of thing that I need to look into.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I understand that. That is cool. So you'll pick stuff up on here. The prior call, I definitely, that's notifications. Oh no, sorry, I'm just trying to set stuff up as well. The prior call, I definitely watch that. Because it just starts you just understand these differences between blockchain and crypto, and just the whole, like Richard said at the beginning, it's the application of something. In the early days of the internet, the reason it didn't take off really fast is because people had no idea how to use it. And the .com bubble was, all of a sudden the internet was a big thing, and if you had the word .com at the end of your name, it was massive. And then the .com crashed because everyone realized that it was all just hype, and then it crashed and then it settled. And we'll have exactly the same thing with the crypto market and with other pieces of blockchain. Everything goes in cycles, but we're still in a really early stage right now, a massively early stage, but that's not going to last forever. So understanding this now is going to be a big value add for just seeing the world differently. And instead of, if you don't hold on to this technology at some point, it's going to go past you, and then you'll look at the world and not recognize it. That's one of the things I want to help people with, is this blockchain literacy and crypto literacy. Thank you, Deborah. Jen.
So I know very little about any of this, really. I used to work writing news for the cooperative sector, so businesses at traders co-ops. And within the sphere of that work, some of the things that I came across mentioned blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but so I had an awareness that it existed, but I didn't know what it was. And I suppose because it was in that, I learned about it within that kind of being in the kind of cooperative sector. And now you're talking about it. I suppose my main thing is that I want to, I don't know, this might sound a bit weird, but I've worked in companies that were traded on the stock market and sold to each other. And when they get sold, people's livelihoods go. So I have an inherent belief that the stock market is quite evil. Because it's just traded in people's lives. So I'm interested to know about this, but to know how ethical it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. I can definitely touch on some of that stuff. We actually covered you were on the last call, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that comes down to the whole transparency stuff, but I'll try and bring some of that into it as we go through stuff. Thank you very much, Jen. And Angelita.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Hello. I'm also with Deborah. I know very, very, very little, but really, really have a feeling that I'll say could, need to know more. So I'm just here to learn, really. And I will be watching that the other video that you put up. Thank you for the link for that. So yeah, just do my best to be a sponge at the minute. So sponging away.
Sponge is a good thing to be in this space, definitely. Okay.
Definitely.
Let us have a see what we can do then. Let me. Just going to try something. Okay, I should be able to see that. So I'm going to try. I like using whiteboards, but I don't have one. Well, every time I try and do it with, every time I try and do it in front of an actual whiteboard, it never actually works. So I'm going to try an electronic whiteboard now. Okay, so let us start. I'm just going to start picking stuff up because as we go through things, it will become clearer. At any point, any of you can just unmute yourself and ask any question that you wish. Don't feel like you've got to wait for anything. As I said, this is an interactive two-way call. So the more questions you ask, if something's not clear, the better it becomes for everybody else. So first, I'm going to work on some of Richard's questions because I think they'll just begin to help everyone else as we're going along. I sent these videos as 2 short videos the other day as well. But if we were to take this, you've got, if over here, oh, wrong button. If over here, I have a wallet. And I want you to think about that just like your normal wallet that you would have money in, no different, except this is an electronic wallet. It's not a bank account, other than the only similarity between a bank account and a wallet is that it holds money and it can buy and it can send and receive. So in that instance, it's like a bank account, but there is no bank. It's more like a wallet. It's a place where money is held. But these wallets don't hold money. They hold coins, crypto coins. And you would have a wallet for each type of coin. You would have a BTC wallet. You would have an Ethereum wallet. You would have an XRP wallet. And each of these holds its own coin. For anyone who's just wondering, these things are called tickers. They're just short abbreviations for long words, basically. Like every single coin out there has a, instead of calling something the pound sterling, it's just called the pound. So Bitcoin is in short is BTC. Ethereum in short is ETH. XRP happens to just be XRP as well. So you have all of these different wallets and they sit inside something which we also call a wallet. I know. So for example, Richard earlier talked about a hard wallet. So like if I was to have a look. Browser to share Ledger Nano S images. This is an example of an electronic wallet that we call a hard wallet, an offline wallet. I can touch it, I can hold it in my hand. There is a photo of someone holding said wallet in their hands. Inside this wallet, when you plug it into a computer, it would have multiple, let's call them soft wallets. In fact, they're a bit like soft wallets. So inside this hard wallet are a lot of other wallets, which each different wallet holds holds a different coin. So come back to this. Does it keep the whiteboard? It does not keep the whiteboard. Okay. Right. So, but to get money onto a wallet, someone either has to send it you. So if I have a wallet here and it's holding XRP, then someone has to send me XRP into that wallet. You can't send me Ethereum and it will just naturally find my Ethereum wallet. The address for this wallet, let's call it 1111, which is a stupid address, but let's just call it that, is totally different from this address. They're all completely unique. They're not even unique, they're actually in different languages. So you must send the correct currency to the correct wallet, which is why understanding crypto in that way is really important. You can't just go, hey, what's your crypto wallet address? If someone just gives you a wallet address and you send the wrong currency, it disappears. This is why it's a little bit different to bank accounts. So where do exchanges come in? Exchanges are where we buy and we sell. Just like we have exchanges, if down here we have stocks, then around the world we have places like the FTSE, we've got the New York Stock Exchange, and these are all different exchanges around the world. And a company, this company here, might list on this exchange and it might list on this exchange. And I can buy and sell its stock on these two exchanges. When they're shut, they're shut. With crypto, we have hundreds of different exchanges. Some are regulated, some are not regulated. Every single one can buy and sell whatever crypto coins it chooses to have on its platform. So, get rid of some of that. So for example, we have an exchange called Binance, and the other big exchange called Coinbase. And whoever runs these exchanges chooses what coins it wants to have. And then people come and they buy and sell just like they would on any other stock market exchange. When your money is not being traded, it sits in a wallet. Money always sits in wallets. And just like earlier, let me just get rid of this bottom one. Just like earlier, there are different wallets for different coins. These wallets are exactly the same as these wallets. The only difference is that these wallets sit on an exchange, which means if this exchange turned off, got hacked, anything like that, then you would lose everything. This has happened in the past. Now, that wouldn't happen with a bank. Obviously, there are some countries where stuff's happened, like Cyprus, but by and large, banks are safe. You put your money in a bank, even if a bank got hacked, you'd be insured. And that's not necessarily the case with exchanges, because it depends who owns the exchange and what their terms are. Because crypto is an unregulated industry. That's why it's full of scam artists, terrible coins, things you shouldn't invest in. Like, it literally is. Anything that's unregulated comes with a warning. And even some regulated stuff comes with a warning. They just become more clever and they find out ways to mitigate the regulation. But in the crypto sphere, you really do have to be cautious. And that's one of the reasons why there's so much bad press. But it doesn't make it a bad thing. All your big banks right now are getting behind cryptocurrencies. All your big banks, your international banks, your International Monetary Foundation are all working behind the scenes on blockchain, on a digital currency to help money move around the world. That is happening right now. And as Richard talked about earlier, that's happening with XRP, who are solving the cross-border payments. They want to be able to send money from my bank account to my friend's phone in India, because he uses a mobile wallet on his phone, in 0.7 seconds, not 3 days. So they're solving real-world problems, and they're not going to be solved using SWIFT. If you've used SWIFT as an international money transfer, that's going to be a thing of the past at some point. So there is a lot of unregulation. And the reason why I want to state that is because I don't keep on my exchange where my wallet is, and Coinbase, Richard, is an exchange. They're all exchanges. I don't keep too much. And I don't keep too much because unless I'm trading it, I don't need it to sit on an exchange. If I'm not trading it, I'd rather it be safe. And therefore, I take all of this and I send it to the correct address. And this is called an offline wallet. So that Ledger Nano S I showed you earlier, it's an offline wallet. What that means is, if someone turns the internet off, unless someone gets a hold of it physically in their hands, they cannot take my coin, my money. Whereas if it's on an online exchange somewhere and it got hacked, it's possible for someone to take that money and digitally make it theirs. A bit hard to get your head around, but just understand the basic concept that if it's a hard wallet in your hand, no one can take it from you. It's impossible for someone to take it from you. And you need to watch the previous video to just understand how the different blockchains work and why it's so secure. So Richie wants to know the difference between a wallet and an exchange. So a wallet is not an exchange, but an exchange would have a wallet. And you would have a wallet for every different coin that's out there. So when I called it an offline wallet earlier, an offline wallet is the same as a hardware wallet, a physical wallet. Because technically, an offline wallet would also be a paper wallet. I'll keep this simple for now, but Richard, can you just unmute yourself and tell me if you understand about private keys and public keys?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where to find them though.
Okay, so easy way to think about this is when you're on an exchange, the easy way to think about private keys and public keys, for me, a data person here would probably like shoot me for saying this, but it's like a username and a password. I can know all of your usernames to all of your how do I stop sharing? Stop share. There we go. I can know all of your usernames to all of your logins, but I can't get in. So having a username, it might be easier for me to get in, but at the same time, like having a username, if I knew everyone's username in the world, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. What I need to gain access to whatever I want to get into is I need your password. So a public key and a private key is exactly the same. So a public key is the public key to a wallet. So if I say, hey, I want to send you some money, you would give me your public key or your address. Your wallet address is your public key. But I can't take money from it because to access it, I need your private key. So with when you're on an exchange, you don't have a public key or a private key to your wallets because they're owned by the exchange. It's the exchange that has the private key to unlock your wallet and put money onto it. So when you are having a paper wallet, you're effectively taking your public key and your private key and you're putting them on paper. And if you burnt that paper and you had no other copy, you would have lost your crypto forever. Like, have you heard the stories of the drug dealer in London, I think he was, and his landlord came in and he started clearing out all of his room because he didn't pay his bill. And anyway, he threw away the guy's paper wallet into the bin, which had something like 12,000 Bitcoin worth 11 point something million. Gone. You'll never get those back now. So your public key and your private key are super important. So there's nothing more secure than a paper wallet because it's literally on hard paper. But at the same time, you must make damn sure you keep that paper because there is no going back. Personally, I'm very comfortable with those Ledger Nano S hard wallets. I've got no issue with it. I don't have billions of pounds. If I did, I'd have a safe and it'd be in a paper wallet and put away. The grand schemes of things, if you can look after it, you can look after it. You mentioned, Richard, like how do you gain access to it? Honestly, if you went and bought one, and I strongly advise that you do, especially because they've got deals on at the minute, buy one. It's dead easy to understand and to work out. I will do a video on it, but honestly, there's tons of videos. Once you get on, there'll just be an address, and it'll say that'll be a public address. And then I'll do it here. So here is your what's my drawing for the thingy? That's your hard wallet. Think of it like a little USB pen with programs in it. And in your hard wallet, you'll have like an XRP wallet, and you'll have an Ethereum wallet. And these will have their own address. Over here on your exchange, like Binance or Coinbase, you'll have your wallets. And inside your wallets, you'll have XRP. In fact, you just go to, it'll say withdraw. And it'll say, what currency do you want to withdraw? And you'll say, I want to withdraw XRP. And it'll say, cool, okay, what's the address? And in the address, you're going to put 11111, because that's this address here. And you'll press send. It'll probably say, please go to your email and confirm. So you'll tick confirm, and then it will have sent across to here. And then you'll get an email at some point that'll say confirmed. And then this will have no money in it, and then this one over here will have your 1.78 million pounds, or however much you've transferred. So exchanges have wallets. Hard wallets are exactly the same, but they're physically things that you have in your hand and you send money to them. Exchanges, wallets, hardware. I'm going to come on to security in a minute, but I'm curious, Richard, does that help to understand the difference between an exchange and a wallet?
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that on the exchange they owned the wallet and it wasn't yours. That's what I was confused about. I wasn't sure. I didn't understand that each coin had its own wallet effectively. So now I do. So cheers for that.
That's cool.
With the paper wallet though, what are you actually doing with the paper wallet? All you're doing is putting two keys down. Where are the keys generated from if it's not from the hardware wallet?
My understanding of it, it's a really complex answer, is how I've seen it anyway, because I don't want to say so that's going to confuse things. Like, for example, the money that's in the wallet, that's in any wallet, you can access it. You don't actually hold anything in your wallet. And I know it's going to be really confusing. It took me a while to get my head around this. You know how the blockchain is just a load of data that's copied from the last data with a bit more data in it, and it's all there. Think of it like this. Amazon, the website, is not stored on one space somewhere in the world. It's probably backed up to loads of different places. So at any single point, if one went down, Amazon wouldn't go down, a different one would come up. Well, that's because they've specifically backed it up to different places. With the blockchain, the blockchain is like a swarm of bees. It contains everything, and at any single point, I can access that blockchain and read it. To access it, though, I need to know two pieces of information. I need to know the public key and the private key. So long as I know the public key and the private key, I can access it. So it's not that you're with that hard wallet, with this, it's not that it's in the wallet, it's that your private key is in the wallet. And when you activate that wallet, usually I just put a password, like on the wallet itself, it's got some codes, and then it's plugged in and connected to the blockchain, I can read my balance. So I could get a hammer and I could smash my hard wallet to pieces, but I do not lose my coin so long as I know my public key to identify it on the blockchain and my private key to unlock it. So I could use a site called, and it's just the one that came to mind, Mew, which stands for My Ether Wallet, and I could go on there, and so long as I've got my public key, and so long as I've got my private key, I can read, I have permission to look at the blockchain, one particular blockchain, like Ethereum. That's why it's my Ethereum wallet. And as long as I've got a public key and private key, it will be able to identify me in the system and what's categorized and labeled as me.
Yeah.
And if I print that out, it doesn't matter if I don't have this. So long as I've got the public key, the private key, and you're probably going to need something else called your 26 word phrase. It's got another name for it. Then I'll be able to gain access to it. Does that make sense, or a bit or not?
Yeah, I know, because with like is XRP, I don't know, I forget what they said, but there's a finite amount of coins on the blockchain, aren't there? And all you're doing is, whether you're with the key, you're just accessing that bit of the chain, aren't you? Basically, which is your coins, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it,
so it's always there. It's not like I get it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're not downloading actual coins into your.
All it is literally, it's a ledger. Yeah. And it's a constant ledger, and it says this here says that Richard owns this and Daniel owns this, and it doesn't matter where it's stored. All that matters is when you call upon the information. Imagine that there's some dude, and this dude's kind of, you go to him and you're like, hey, here's my public key and here's my private key. Tell me what's mine. And let's just say that he's the boss of the XRP ledger. He just looks at the ledger and goes, okay, you've got 1,638 coins. Like they're not held anywhere. I mean, I know that you could argue that the internet's held in a server somewhere, but this is all of this is called distributed ledger technology. And that means that it doesn't have a single place that it exists. And this is the thing that's really difficult, I found, to get my head around is understanding DLT, distributed ledger technology, that it's the fairest, most transparent way to hold information without a single point of failure, without a person that's in charge, that's the boss. Nobody can make dodgy deals. Like the whole ledger understands what's going on. Like this is the technological equivalent of ants, bees, and if you watch Star Trek, the Borg. Like in the Borg, if you watch anything through Star Trek, you attack one person, immediately everyone else understands what's happening. And if you've seen the new series on Netflix of Dark Crystal, which is brilliant, by the way, you got to watch that. Those arachnid creatures, again, they're spiders, but you attack one spider, they're just one hive mind. So the DLT is distributed ledger technology is a way for us to transfer contracts and money and just see everything that's going on at any single point. And it's your public key and your private key that's unique to you, that allows you the ability to see what's on the ledger that's yours. Any use that, Richard? It is a coffee percolator though, dude. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I've got the basic fundamentals of, I understand ledgers and stuff. It's like you say, it's just that concept of not withdrawing anything from the ledger, are you? At any point, you're always accessing it, really.
Even if you gave it to me and said, "Oh, Daniel, I'll give you 1,000 coins," nothing happens.
Yeah.
All that happens is the next time I access the ledger, more of whatever's on the ledger, whether it's a contract, a house. I mean, God, anything that can be moved or hold information can go on a ledger now. Yeah. Because all the land registry is in the UK is a ledger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
If anyone else, I'm going to go on to security, and if I just answer this question quickly on Binance. Can I show you this? Just 1 second. Yeah, I can. Okay, so join. Can anyone see the meeting ID? I got it. 759. $46.5. Okay, so this is Binance when you're logging. Is this what you've seen, Richard? Well, if you use Binance, like compared to Coinbase, this is just a little bit complex. Coinbase makes it really easy to buy and sell things, but all I can say is this: at the bottom, you've got some buttons. You've got markets, you've got orders, wallets. If you just go to trade, this is where you'll be. And you'll see at the top, you've got spot, you've got margin, you've got futures. You don't have to look at any of that. It will always put you on spot. You never need to be on anything else other than spot.
Yeah.
And most people, if you just wanted to buy, you just put how much you want to buy in here. I want to buy 2 Bitcoin as an example, or whatever I'm on. What am I on Bitcoin? Yeah. And I just hit that green buy button. That's it.
So am I right in thinking, sorry if I'm going a bit
It's okay.
into like detail here. With that, it seemed to me you had to either add cash to it, but I couldn't actually figure out how to actually do it. So I'd added
Okay. So like how to on-ramp fiat to it.
Yeah, on the top there, it's got like you can use the card, can't you? Which seems pretty simple, but I got blocked with that. I think that was just my bank doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh, yeah.
if you're wanting to, okay, give me a second. Don't know how much this will use too much resources, but I will try. Yeah, it might be too much. So if you've got time, like 2 or 3 days, then you could bank transfer it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with bank transferring. It can take a bit longer, but it's the cheapest way to put money in. But I'll show you what always works for me, and in my opinion, is pretty quick. I'm just logging in, so you don't have to see all this. Because getting money into crypto can be a pain. I have in the past just bought stuff through Coinbase onto whatever coin I was buying, hit the fees, and then just transferred it out of Coinbase. So I've actually used Coinbase purely for the purpose of getting my fiat into crypto. Finance. 1 second. Here we go. Okay. Where are you all? Here. Share screen. So this is Binance. Now, Alex earlier was talking about, is he verified? If I click my, like, this will be where you'd see your profile photo. See how it says verified there? That's what you want. And if you're not, it'll probably say get verified or something like that. And you just want to get verified as quickly as possible. But if I go to buy crypto, because at the minute, if you're in Europe, they've taken all fees out. So this is the easiest way I've seen to buy crypto. So let's say we want to spend £1,000. I usually leave it at Bitcoin, Bitcoin BTC. I prefer not to buy it because it's a bit more volatile, but this might work, it might not. I'll show you what you're looking for. You're looking for Banksa. Here we go. See this one here that says Banksa. So what Binance have done is Binance has said, look, we're an exchange. The purpose of us is to hold different currencies and buy and sell them and trade them. Yeah. So they partner with other people in order to get their money on. In my experience, this one here, which is Binance's native, put your card in here and have it work. I have never got that working. It always says channel failed. And I've just never been able to get it working. All these other people are payment providers. So ePay, Coinal, Simplex, Faster Payments, and Banksa. And they're all offering different ways to get your money on. Most of my cards are MasterCards, and all my Visa ones were traditional banks. And I went through all security with them. Now, I think I got it working last time with one of the Visa cards, but I never fully tried it because I had an advanced fraud team calling me, double checking everything, because it's like a First Direct bank. If you're banking with Barclays, First Direct, Santander, banks like this, they're just a bit more on it. If you're banking with your Revolut, I know they're pretty good with stuff. But this one down here, this Banksa one, takes Visa and MasterCards, instant delivery, and I used to be no fees. Let's have a look. So they're going to give me, so on £1,000, they're going to give me 8.83 Ethereum. 8.83 is here. These are going to give me 8.49. These are going to get 8.95. And that's going to give me 9. If I was to use ePay though, see how it buys not an option, I can top up real-time payment, but it might, somewhere there'll be a catch and there'll be some fee somewhere. I generally find that page is there to just lure you in somewhere. But I'd try a few of these. Payment is an ePay wallet. So we see what it does. So now it's taking me to ePay's website. We're probably going to have to register. So we see, here we go. And ePay is giving me different ways I can send money in. I think my point is with this, you kind of have to, try a few. I just personally prefer Banksa. After messing around with a few, I've just found Banksa the same. I've never compared Banksa to Coinbase, and it could be that there's not that much difference. I don't know. You'd have to just do a quick check. So usually I'll take one particular payment method all the way through to the end and go, right, how much would I get? Oh, I'd get 8.83 Ethereum. Okay. And if I did it on Coinbase, how much will I get? Oh, I'll get 9.6. Then use Coinbase. It might be because, let me just see if it gives you free transfers if I use Ethereum, if I use Bitcoin. Different coins have got different options. No, Banksa is still the same. Go to Banksa. I've read. So I'm going to pay £1,000. This is the Bitcoin I'm going to get. And they're going to charge me 1.99%, which I'm quite happy with that. If I click create order, it's going to give me a bank account and sort code to send it to. And it's going to give me, allow me to put card details in, and it's done pretty quick. But I think you can also send bank transfers to it as well. So I'll stop sharing. I don't want to confuse things too much. So the getting money in to Binance, use that buy crypto button, and I'd start with, depends how much you're wanting to put in. Banks definitely works the easiest, but there's no, I've never seen anyone that has one tried and tested way. The only tried and tested way that works for everybody is bank transfers, which takes 2 to 3 days. So if you wanted to get it in today, you're going to need to do a card. I would always phone up my card provider and say, I am spending money on cryptocurrencies on this site. Please make sure it's approved, make sure it's ready, make sure it's good. I've done that with First Direct. I then had to have 2 more subsequent calls with them. And I'm actually pro banks doing that, because I'd rather them be hot on security than not, even though I know they're all covered and insured. So it's one of these things that it is a little bit of a trial and error sometimes, because you're also dealing with a USA site. There is another site called Binance.Jersey, which is based in the EU. They might be easier to get your money into. So try them all and just have a look. What I do recommend everyone to do, if you're not on Binance, go and get an account. Just get registered so you've got it. Go on Bitstamp, get registered so you've got it. Go on Coinbase, get registered so you've got it. And Richard, if you're already looking at putting more money in, go on Binance, do exactly what I just said, and actually see how much you'd get. But then go on Coinbase and do the same and work out how much you'd get. And just ask yourself the question, can I be bothered to do the extra work to save whatever it is? Because sometimes for convenience, you'd be surprised we'll take a hit on stuff. Because I've spent hours trying to get money on sometimes, and in the end I'm like, fuck it, I don't care anymore, and I'll just do it the easiest way because I've got stuff I want to get on with. But to someone else that's got time, they might be like, no, I'm going to do it the cheapest way possible. But in my opinion, the reason you're all on this call is to get into an industry very early on. The difference we're talking here, even if you put £1,000 in, let's say one person would give you 10 Ethereum and someone else would give you 9.97. Honestly, it's nothing. This market can change 20% in an hour. 20% in an hour. So if you're day trading and you're looking at the tiny little changes, then they all make a difference. But to everyone on this call, just get in, because you can spend ages trying to make it perfect. That's the biggest thing I've learned sometimes. You just don't let perfection get in the way of it.
That's cool, man. Honestly, I thought it was me.
No, it's not.
Cool.
And this is the thing, right? So it takes a barrier to not listen to the news, not listen to all your friends that say Bitcoin is a scam, and actually just, but you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna invest in crypto. And then you turn the corner, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, there's 96 different ways you can do it. We don't know which one's going to work. You just got to start." And you're like, "What?" This is why it's one of these markets that it just doesn't work like that. It will do and it can do, but the beginning is a steep learning curve. Once you're in it, it's pretty easy, but it's just different.
Just a quick question on Binance. Do you use the desktop sort of like the browser or on the app? Because the app seems a lot more complicated than the browser, to be honest. So
depends what you're doing. In a way, the app's easier. I always keep some money in fiat or a stable coin, which we're gonna have to come on to another time. A stable coin is just like the pound or the dollar, but it just stays at 1,
right,
rather than keeping your money in fiat. So I keep my money in USDT, US dollar tether, or USDC, which are just what we call stable coins. And I keep them in there so that if the market dips, I can just do a quick buy. In that instance, having the phone's really easy. Yeah. If I want to check my balance, it's really easy. If I'm doing a lot of movements, I might use the browser, but I don't use the Binance native Mac software. I find that a bit clunky. Okay, I just really want to touch on security. I'm conscious that the rest of you haven't asked any questions, but I'm imagining you're just absorbing stuff. I'm going to be coming into the last sort of 10 minutes. So if Jen or Angelita, you want to ask any questions, then please just let me know now. Alex says,
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I'm going to ask now. Yeah, Alex says, did you say keep some money in your Binance account in dollars? I did. To make it simpler, keep some money on whatever exchange you use in a non-volatile currency, meaning it will always be worth what it's worth. So a dollar's a dollar, and whatever a dollar is to a Bitcoin is whatever it is. But the dollar's always a dollar. So we call these stable coins because they don't really move much, because they're pegged to something. So if there was a stable pound, it would always be, if I wanted to exchange it between pounds and the digital equivalent, it would always be the same. So I, in the past, have wasted my opportunities because I got in at a good rate. But the reality is, you don't really know what a good rate is until you've been in it a while, because if in a month it's 20% lower, well, the good rate you were just in actually is a higher rate. So I've learned now to do what's called dollar cost averaging, which means every week I'll buy a little bit more. And if it's up, it's up. And if it's down, it's down. And I'm adjusting the average price I've paid for a coin over a period of time. And that allows me to make wins of the big drops. It allows me to not get caught up with the big drops. I see them as opportunity, not as a problem. And then when it goes up, I still buy in, and I'm constantly just chipping into it. And there's a lot of sense in it. But the biggest reason I like dollar cost averaging, it's calm. You see all these stories about cryptocurrency, like just to get a 20% to 50% swing in a market in a day. If that was in the stock market, people would be jumping out of windows. Like they lose 7% in a day. It's the front page of the headlines. Cryptocurrency lost 50% in one day last week with the stock market crash. It's okay. That's going to happen. We're going through a big period in the world right now, but the future of currency, where everything's going, is on blockchain, is on distributed ledger technology. We're so in the infancy. I am not concerned by it at all. But that's why I don't recommend people selling their house and putting it on it. That's Billy Big Balls territory. And some people do that. I'm just saying, do your own research and have a look at it. It is the future of things. And at the very least, take a tenner and play with it. Get used to it, because you don't want to suddenly find out it's everywhere and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do with it. So Alex, that's why I keep money in a stable coin, just for those opportunities. Does that answer your question? I'm to unmute you.
Hey, yeah, that's answered my question. Makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, Corey, you were typing. Okay. I want to very quickly talk about security. So I was trying to show you then, I just realized I can't. Richard, are you aware of two-factor authentication?
Yes, like when you get a text or you like a Google Authenticator or something like that, yeah?
Well, a text is a one-time password, OTP, yeah? Okay. They can be hacked, but it's still another form of authentication. Google Authenticator is, whoever they are, clever people, came up with a protocol that allowed, when they got connected, this person would show you a code, this person would generate a response that lasted 30 seconds. Get something, it's free, called Authy, A-U-T-H-Y. It is the same as Google Authenticator, except you can share it across multiple devices. And if you get a new phone, you can have an app on your computer as well. So it means that if you lose your phone, you don't have to use backup codes and things like that. People argue that it's not as safe because, technically speaking, somewhere in the cloud it's being hosted. However, my argument is that even if someone would have to hack all of my password manager tool, which I have, they'd have to hack all of my authenticator and do it all before I found out, and then do something with that information. Like, I'm just, in the grand schemes of all that happening, it's nigh impossible. Yeah, I'm very comfortable that I'm in a safe space. So I recommend everyone to get LastPass as a password manager, or whatever password manager tool you want. And I recommend everyone to use Authy. I find it's incredibly useful. It's on my browser, it's on my phone, it's on my iPad, my laptop, it's everywhere. So that if I need one of my authentication codes, I've got it. If you're getting into crypto in any way, either set up a separate email account, or you can use your own. I use my own for some stuff, but at the same time, just understanding that that comes with a risk as well. So the big difference is with a bank, you don't have to manage your own risk. With cryptocurrency, you do. Now, most of you might be thinking, well, that's a lot to do. Honestly, once you start, it's really easy and it's good practice. I love two-factor authentication. Now, when I log on, I've got no idea what my passwords are because I have a password tool that manages it all. I log on and it says you need an authenticator. And for the people, I think I'm safe to share this. No, I'm not going to but they just generate 6-digit codes that last 30 seconds and they just keep changing every 30 seconds. And the website will say, enter the code, you put the code in and then you're in. And it's another layer of security so that people can't gain access to your stuff. So if you get that, Richard, for authentication, if you get a hard wallet and if you get something like Authy and you just use it everywhere, I use it for Facebook, I use it for all my internet logins for my password, for my emails. If there's an option to add a second layer of security, I do it. And I used to think it was a pain. Now, if it's not there, all I see is a security threat. It's like getting into a car and saying, "Where's the seatbelt?" You'd feel unsafe. Whereas once of a day, people were dying all over the place. People didn't want seatbelts until they made it a law that you had to wear a seatbelt. So I think that two-factor authentication is a phenomenal thing. Not foul-proof. It's not infallible, but it is a really, really good thing. Does that help? Thumbs up, don't worry, you don't have to. Right, cool. Okay, I'm going to try and leave it at that. I want to keep these to an hour. There's tons of stuff on them all. So we've kind of covered wallets and exchanges, hardware wallets, a little bit on paper wallets. And if you can get used to Binance, I find it's the best. If you're using it, just try a few different payment methods, but speak to your bank, get it approved. But Richard, you could probably try a few tonight because you'd be surprised what might work. But then if not, tomorrow phone up your fraud team and just get it all approved. And I've got 4 core card providers, Coinbase. Yeah, and for Jen, you were talking about it being ethical. I'll probably do that separately because I realize that's quite a bit different. But ethics has got nothing to do with technology. Like, is a car good or bad? Is a knife good or bad? It's just a tool, and everyone thinks technology is bad. It's just stuff, and it's people and how people use something. That's where ethics come into it. And I do think that blockchain technology is built to deal with the question of trust. We have such a trust issue in the world, and that's why we've got middlemen all the time. Whereas blockchain technology will remove all those layers of trust that are required, and because it's transparent, it will allow for us to properly question governments to understand where things are spent. Will it stop a bad person, whatever bad is, buying a company of someone else and firing people? No, it will not. But that's got nothing to do with blockchain. That's to do with consciousness. And I think this whole move away into blockchain is linked to consciousness. I think this is the next evolution of technology. And I think this evolution of the technology is a representation of the space in which human beings are going to move into interoperability of each other, which basically means communication, the ability for us all to understand where everything is. Buckminster Fuller said we don't have a resource problem, we have a distribution problem. So imagine if using blockchain technology, we could understand where all the resources of the planet were and move them to wherever they needed to be within a single space of time to support whatever was required. That can only better the whole of humanity. But it is down to its use case and how it's used. There's a lot of noise out there about evil people and all sorts of stuff, but there's also a lot of noise out there about this being a huge time of great change. We don't know, but I know this: everything that gets created can be used for good, and however much good it can be used for, there's always the equal opposite, what you perceive as not good, because that's how things balance in the world. And so we have a choice all the time. And I am for the use of blockchain to make governments transparent, to reduce taxes, to make people and distribute wealth in a new way. That's everything I'm pro and for. And we can do that using blockchain. We can't do that at the minute because all money is hidden. It's hidden and you've got no idea what's going on. And that's what we need to move away from. And when I'm talking about money, I don't mean our money. I'm talking like the sort of numbers you can't even wrap your head around, that sort of level of money. So I do think it can be used for ethical purposes, but it's down to the people, not the technology. So I hope that helps in a snapshot. Cool. All right. So guys, thank you very much for coming on. I hope that's been useful. I'll post this in the group. If you've got any other questions, throw them in the group. We're just going to keep working with this every single day, every single week, and just seeing where I can help. If you've not got any exchanges yet, get on some. Start with Coinbase and then get Binance and just do the registration. And if you're at richer stage, try and get some money on there with some different cards. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I should have said that at the beginning. Do your own research. I'm just here to help because sometimes there's so much noise. We just want people to talk to. I just wanted someone to talk to and there was no one to talk to. So I thought I'm going to try and be that person to just share my experience. And I will leave you with that, everyone. So have a really nice evening. Stay safe wherever you are. Look after your communities. Remember, in the next 24 hours, Boris may say that we have to be locked in. I did a video earlier today. Who are your neighbours? Maybe just drop a little note to them to say, I'm here. Your elderlies, your people that are living on their own, or people that are assisted living. Just think about the people that live nearby, because who knows what's around the corner for the next couple of weeks. I'll leave you with love and light and have a really nice evening, everyone. Bye-bye.